Hey guys, I thought I would pass along these tips no matter how trivial they may seem, because it's so frustrating to get blurry freaking pictures. Dang, so frustrating. It'll frustrate you to the point where you'll quit. You might quit, and nobody wants that. So here we go. Number one, stabilization. Now this seems trivial, I know, but some people may not know. No matter how expensive a lens you get, if it doesn't have stabilization, then it doesn't have stabilization. It works. It works. Low aperture lenses, so you can let more light in and get the shutter speed up. Low aperture lenses and stabilization. That's why I like the 17 to 55 so much. It's got both. So there's a couple. Here's one you may or may not know. Take your focal length, times that by 2, and use that or higher for your shutter speed. So say you're shooting at 40 millimeters. Then you'd want to take that, times it by 2, and use 1/80th of a second or faster for your shutter speed. And that way you're zoomed in and your shutter speed is fast enough to avoid the movement. And that goes for all focal lengths. Even if you have a 200 millimeter lens or a 400 millimeter lens, then you'd want to go 1/800th of a second or faster. If you had a lens that big, you might be on a tripod anyway, but this is really mostly for hand holding. Hand holding. And it works. It really does work. So remember that. 2 times your focal length for your shutter speed. Another one is to hold the camera correctly. Now, tell me honestly, when you first got a DSLR, does this look familiar? Because this still feels good to me. This is how I held my DSLR for a long time. Look familiar? Yeah. A lot of people hold their DSLR like this. And believe me, you are going to get far better, better results more often if you put one hand under the lens, the other hand where the other hand goes, bring your elbows in, and create a stable platform. And if you practice that and keep practicing, I heard this over and over again, and for some reason I just could not seem to make it feel natural. I had to force myself, consciously force myself to say elbows in, left hand under lens, elbows in, hand under lens, elbows in. And you know what though? Now it actually feels, it's starting to feel natural. It actually feels natural. When I bring my camera up, it is starting to feel natural. And it's become a habit. So it took a while, but it's working out. So that's probably one of the most important things, I swear. I'm really trying, I know I'm going on and on about it, but please give it a shot. A friend of mine actually likes to create a platform with his arm, and he puts one hand on his shoulder like this, and he's made that work for him. Now, it feels awkward, but it does create a stable platform. And whatever it takes, if that's what works for you, that's what works. Try it out if you think that might work better. But something to create that stable platform. Get a gorilla pod, one of those little tiny tripods with flexible legs. Honestly, I've used those quite a bit, and they work. They really work, obviously, because the camera is completely still. So, you know, get one of those. Throw it in your, if you have somewhere to put it, throw it in your car. Whatever. Carry it around with you. You know, whatever it takes. One last thing, and that is micro adjustment. Now, you'll have to check your camera's owner's manual, because I don't know what cameras, I know a lot of the Canon cameras, but check your owner's manual. If your camera has micro adjustment, then you'll be able to, if you've ever heard of front focus or back focus, it's when you use autofocus, focus on a subject, and your camera is actually focusing a few inches behind it, or a few inches in front of it, or even just a small amount, a few centimeters or a centimeter. A small amount can make a difference, and before you know it, you know, if you have that problem, then you don't have crisp focus. So the 7D has it where you can adjust by all lenses or adjust lens by lens and fix that problem if it exists. So check your owner's manual for that. Maybe check your lenses, see if you have that problem. There are ways to do it. Look on the internet. If you think you have that problem, look it up. So, you know, that's about it. I just wanted to pass those along. You know, I know it's kind of beginner, but I'm a beginner, and maybe you are too. So, if you have any suggestions on, you know, on other ways to reduce your chances of getting blurry photos, leave a comment. Let me know. Everybody else would probably like to know too. So, you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.